This wasn't the kind of restaurant where ordinary people ate. This was where power brokers made deals, where politicians kissed rings, where the real business of El Paso happened behind closed doors and beneath crystal chandeliers. Aubrey Castellano sat at the head of a mahogany table that had witnessed 1,000 negotiations, signing documents his consigliere had prepared. At 46, he was the youngest Don to ever control the Castellano crime family, having inherited the position when his father was murdered by the Sinaloa cartel 7 years ago. Since then, he'd transformed the family from a struggling mid-tier operation into one of the most powerful organizations in the Southwest, controlling everything from legitimate real estate to less legitimate import operations, from construction unions to protection rackets that spanned 3 states. His capos sat around the table, discussing territory disputes with the Moretti family, debating whether to expand into Arizona, reviewing tribute payments from their various enterprises. Donald Ricci, his most trusted advisor and the family's intelligence expert, was explaining how the Mexicali cartel wanted to negotiate new smuggling routes when Aubrey's personal bodyguard interrupted. "Boss, there's a kid outside, says she needs to talk to you. Says it's about Raymond Cordova." The room went silent. Raymond Cordova was a low-level associate who ran drug distribution for one of their pipeline operations. Useful but unreliable, the kind of soldier who made money but caused problems. A kid? Aubrey's steel-gray eyes narrowed. In his world, children didn't approach crime bosses. Children were protected, kept away from family business, sheltered from the realities of what men like him did to maintain power. "Girl, maybe, 12, won't leave, says she'll wait all night if she has to. Says you're the only one Raymond fears." Aubrey exchanged glances with Donald, who shrugged slightly. Curiosity won. "Bring her in. Everyone else, take 5 minutes." The capos filed out, leaving only Aubrey and Donald in the room when Joyce Moreno entered. She was small, underfed, wearing clothes that had been washed too many times. But her eyes, those eyes carried the kind of hardness that came from witnessing things children shouldn't see. She clutched something in her fist so tightly her knuckles were white. "Mr. Castellano?" Her voice wavered but held. "I'm sorry to interrupt your business, but I need help, and everyone says you're the only man in this city who can make Raymond Cordova leave my mother alone." Aubrey leaned back in his chair, studying her. "You know who I am? What should I do?" "You're the head of the Castellano family. You control the South Side, the docks, most of the construction unions. You decide who lives and who disappears. Raymond works for you, sells drugs through your distribution network." Smart kid. Dangerous knowledge for someone her age. "Sit down, Joyce. That is your name?" She nodded, sitting carefully on the edge of a chair that probably cost more than her mother earned in a month. "Raymond Cordova is one of hundreds of people who work in my organization. Why should I care what he does in his personal life?" "Because he's beating my mother to death." Joyce's words came out flat, factual. "Every week, sometimes more. Last night he broke her arm. She told the ER she fell. 3 months ago he gave her a concussion so bad she couldn't remember her own name for 2 days. The time before that, fractured ribs that almost punctured her lung." Aubrey's expression didn't change, but Donald shifted uncomfortably. The family had rules about domestic violence, old rules from Aubrey's grandfather, who'd watched his own mother destroyed by an abusive husband. Men who hit women were considered weak, dishonorable. If Raymond was doing this. "Police exist for this," Aubrey said carefully. "Police work for you, or they're scared of people who work for you. My mom tried to get a restraining order. The judge who would have approved it plays poker every Thursday with one of your captains. The order was denied." Joyce's laugh was bitter, too old for her face. "She tried to leave. Raymond found us in 3 hours. He told her if she tried again, he'd kill her and make it look like a robbery. Said nobody would care about one dead woman in El Paso." So you come to me. Aubrey understood now. The system had failed her, so she'd gone around it. Brave or desperate, he wasn't sure which. I know how your world works. I clean houses. Rich people talk like I'm not there. They say the Castellano family honors debts, keeps promises, and protects people who show respect. She opened her fist, revealing a ring. This was my grandmother's, real gold, real diamond, worth maybe $800. I'm offering it as payment for protection, not for me, but for my mother, Michelle Moreno. I want Raymond Cordova to leave El Paso and never come back. The audacity of it, this child trying to pay a Mafia don with a pawn shop ring to solve her domestic problem, should have been insulting. Instead, Aubrey found himself respecting her courage. In his world, respect meant everything. What makes you think $800 buys anything from me? I make more than that in the time you took to walk through my door. I know, but it's all I have, and I know your family has rules about honor, about protecting women and children. Raymond is breaking those rules. He's making your family look weak by association. Donald coughed, covering what might have been a laugh. The kid had done her homework. The Castellano family does have rules against violence against women, strict rules that Raymond was violating. Aubrey picked up the ring, examined it. How did you find me? I followed Raymond one night when he went to make a payment, saw him meet with a man at a warehouse on 3rd Street. I asked around carefully and learned the warehouse belongs to your family's logistics operation. Then I learned where you eat dinner on Thursday nights, so I came here. She'd surveilled one of his operations, tracked his movements. At 12 years old, she'd done what most people wouldn't attempt. Dangerous, but impressive. Keep your ring, Aubrey said, placing it back in her palm. This isn't how business works in my world. Joyce's face crumpled. Please, he's going to kill her. I heard him tell his friend that next time she disrespects him, he'll put her in the ground and tell everyone it was a robbery. I was hiding in the closet and heard everything. Aubrey saw something in her eyes he recognized, the same look he'd had as a child, watching his father terrorize his mother before the old Don had finally had enough and made his son-in-law disappear. The look of someone who understood that sometimes the only way to stop a monster is to find a bigger one. Your mother's name is Michelle Moreno. You live at 2847 Alameda Street. Raymond moved in 6 months ago. Aubrey's names were not questions. 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 Joyce's eyes widened. How did you? I make it my business to know everything about people in my organization, including their personal lives when those lives create problems. Aubrey leaned forward. Go home, Joyce. Act normal. Don't tell your mother you were here. Don't tell anyone. If people know you came to me, it creates complications. Does that mean you'll help? It means go home and wait. What happens next is family business. Joyce studied his face, searching for promise or threat. Whatever she saw must have satisfied her, because she nodded once and stood to leave. At the door, she turned back. Thank you, Mr. Castellano. I haven't done anything yet. Yes, you have. You listened. That's more than the police, the courts, and anyone else did. After she left, Donald spoke quietly. Raymond Cordova, you want me to look into this? Everything. His work for us, his personal life, his connections. If he's beating women and using our name for protection, he's making the family look weak. That's unacceptable. And if it's true, then Raymond Cordova is going to learn that working for the Castellano family comes with responsibilities. We don't employ men who beat women. My grandfather made that rule for a reason. Donald nodded. In the old days, Aubrey's grandfather had personally executed 3 men who'd been discovered abusing their wives. The message was clear. The family protected its own, and women under family protection were sacred. Raymond had violated that code.
I'll have a full report by tomorrow morning. Make it tonight. I want this handled quickly before that kid does something stupid trying to protect her mother." By midnight, Donald had compiled everything. They sat in Aubrey's office above the restaurant, a room that functioned as the nerve center of the Castellano family's operations. Maps on the walls showed territory divisions. Filing cabinets contained records of legitimate businesses and careful documentation of less legitimate enterprises. Photos hung in frames. Aubrey's grandfather, the legendary Don Salvatore Castellano, who'd built the family from nothing. His father, who'd expanded operations before being murdered by cartel rivals. His sister Elsie, who now ran the family's charitable foundation for cover from money laundering. Raymond Cordova, Donald began, spreading.
Tuesday night, 10:25 p.m. Raymond Cordova was celebrating. He'd just closed a deal that would boost his distribution numbers, earn him a larger territory, maybe even get him closer to being a made man. He was drunk on whiskey and ambition, telling anyone at Rosie's bar who'd listen about how he was moving up in the world. Two men in expensive suits sat down on either side of him. Raymond recognized the type, family enforcers, the kind who didn't ask twice. "Raymond Cordova?" The man on his left spoke softly, his tone polite but carrying unmistakable authority. "Don Castellano would like to speak with you." Raymond's drunk confidence evaporated. The Don didn't summon associates unless something was very wrong or very right. "About what?" "Your recent work. Come with us, please." The please was courtesy, not a question. You didn't refuse when the Don called. Raymond followed them to a black SUV, his mind racing. Had he skimmed the product, missed a payment, disrespected someone important? They drove to a warehouse on the industrial edge of the city, one of the family's private locations where official business happened. Inside, the space was mostly empty except for a single chair positioned under harsh overhead lighting. Don Aubrey Castellano stood in the shadows, flanked by Donald and three capos Raymond recognized. Frank, who managed his territory, Marco, the enforcer everyone feared, and Tommy, who controlled the docks and could make bodies disappear into the Rio Grande. "Sit, Raymond." Raymond's hands trembled. This wasn't a promotion meeting. This was something else. "Do you know why you're here?" Aubrey asked, stepping into the light. "No, Don Castellano. I swear, my numbers are good. My territory is clean." "Your numbers are fine. Your territory is acceptable. But your personal conduct is unacceptable." Aubrey's voice was calm, almost conversational, which somehow made it more terrifying. "Tell me about Michelle Moreno." Raymond's face went pale. She's my girlfriend. She's a woman you've been hospitalized with for 6 months. Broken bones, concussions, internal bleeding. You've threatened to kill her. You've told people the Castellano family protects you no matter what you do to her. Aubrey leaned forward. "You've been using our name to terrorize a woman and her child." It's not like that. She's just difficult sometimes." "Difficult." Aubrey's eyes were cold. "Frank, what's the family rule about men who beat women?" Frank stepped forward. "The old Don's rule. Any man who raises his hand to a woman is a coward unworthy of family protection. Any man who uses the family name to justify personal violence dishonors all of us." "And what happened to the last man who broke that rule?" "Your grandfather had him thrown off the bridge into the Rio Grande. They never found the body." Raymond was shaking now. "Please, Don Castellano, I can change.
You had 6 months to change. Michelle gave you chances. The hospitals gave you warnings. You chose violence. You chose to make our family look like we employ cowards who beat women. Aubrey's tone hardened. That's unacceptable. What are you going to do to me? It depends on your choices in the next 10 minutes. Aubrey nodded to Donald, who produced a folder. Inside are quitclaim papers transferring any claim on Michelle's house back to her name. You'll sign them. Then you'll pack one bag and leave El Paso tonight. Drive to Louisiana, Mississippi, anywhere that isn't Texas. Start a new life. Never contact Michelle or Joyce again. And if I refuse? Then Marco will drive you to the Rio Grande, and you'll learn what happens to men who dishonor the Castellano family. Your body will float to Mexico, and no one will ask questions, because everyone knows you violated sacred rules. Raymond looked at Marco, who smiled coldly. Marco's reputation was legendary. 30 confirmed kills, all for family business, all justified by rules Raymond had broken. That's not a choice. It's more than you gave Michelle. She didn't get to choose whether you broke her arm. Joyce didn't get to choose whether she grew up watching her mother beaten. You chose violence. Now you choose consequences. Aubrey pulled out his phone and played a video. Raymond in a grocery store parking lot, shoving Michelle against a wall. Raymond threatening her while Joyce watched from inside the car. I've sent this to every family in Texas. You're marked as a woman beater, a coward, someone who uses organizational protection for personal violence. The Moretti family won't take you. The Sinaloa cartel won't protect you. You're alone, Raymond. The only reason you're still breathing is because I'm giving you a chance to run. The debt I owe to Rojas. Paid. I bought it this morning. Consider it your severance package. You owe nothing except your permanent absence from El Paso. Aubrey placed the papers on the table. Sign or die. Those are your options. The papers were signed within 5 minutes. Raymond's hands shook so badly the signatures were barely legible. There's $5,000 in cash in the car outside, enough to start over somewhere else. Use it wisely. If you ever return to El Paso, if you ever contact Michelle or Joyce, if I even hear rumors you're 500 miles from this city, Marco will finish what we started tonight. Clear? Clear. One more thing. Aubrey's voice dropped to a deadly whisper. Spread the word in whatever city you end up in. The Castellano family protects women and children. We don't forgive men who hurt them. You're alive because I chose mercy. Don't make me regret it. Raymond was escorted out, still trembling. After he left, Aubrey turned to his capos. Make sure he actually leaves. If he's still in Texas by sunrise, make it permanent. Done, boss, Marco said. Frank, redistribute his territory. Tommy, make sure the other families know why Raymond was expelled. I want everyone to understand that using our name for protection while committing domestic violence will be met with permanent consequences. What about the woman and the kid? Donald asked. Elsie is handling it. They're getting a safe house, new identities if they want them, and full family protection. The kid, Joyce, she's smart. When she's ready for college, we're paying. Full scholarship, everything covered. That's generous, boss. That's necessary. She came to me because the system failed her, because the police we have influence over didn't help her mother, because judges we know didn't grant protection orders. We're part of why she had to walk into a room of criminals to beg for help. We fix that. We protect them now. The capos nodded. This was why they followed Aubrey Castellano. He understood that power came with responsibility, that the family's strength came from honor as much as violence. "Get it done," Aubrey said, "and remind everyone the Castellano family has rules. Break them, and there are consequences."
I will. I promise. After she left, Donald emerged from the adjoining office where he'd been listening. "She's gonna be something special," he observed. "She already is. Smart, brave, strategic. In another world, she'd be running the family." Aubrey picked up the journal. She documented everything, built a legal defense for our actions. A 12-year-old protecting a Mafia don. That's a first. It's more than that. She understands what most adults miss, that honor matters, that protecting people who can't protect themselves is worth the cost, that sometimes you have to work with devils to fight demons. What are you going to do with the journal? Keep it safe. She's right. Enemies will look for ways to move against me. This proves our actions were justified by family code. If anything happens, it's evidence that we followed rules established decades ago. You really care about this kid. I care about what she represents. Someone who had every reason to become bitter and broken, but chose courage instead. Someone who looked at a broken system and decided to fix it rather than surrender to it. Aubrey placed the journal in his safe. Make sure she gets into the best law school in the country when the time comes. Full scholarship, everything, covered. Already arranged, boss. Joyce Moreno graduated from Yale Law School at 24 with honors, specializing in domestic violence law and criminal justice reform. She'd spent 7 years keeping her promise, working to fix the system that had failed her mother. Her graduation gift arrived by courier, a letter on expensive stationery. Congratulations on your achievement. Your mother would be proud. I am proud. You've become exactly what this city needs. Someone who understands that justice requires both law and honor. Enclosed is a retainer agreement. The Castellano Family Foundation is hiring you as our legal counsel for domestic violence advocacy. The position is real, the work is legitimate, and the pay reflects your value. You'll help women like your mother, the ones the system fails. You once offered me your grandmother's ring as payment for protection. I refused it then. I'm returning it now, not as payment, but as a reminder. You paid your debt the day you chose courage over fear. Welcome to the family, Counselor Moreno. Respectfully, Aubrey Castellano. Inside the envelope was her grandmother's ring and a retainer agreement offering her a 6-figure salary to provide legal advocacy for domestic violence survivors through the foundation. Joyce held the ring, remembering that terrified 12-year-old who'd walked into a restaurant full of criminals. She'd promised herself that one day she'd help others the way Don Castellano had helped her. Now she had the chance. She called the number on the letterhead. Elsie Castellano answered. "I got the offer. What do you think?" "I think I'm accepting, but I want something clear. I won't do anything illegal. I won't help the family with criminal matters. I work for the foundation, helping survivors, but that's where the line is." Aubrey expected you'd say that. He wouldn't want it any other way. The foundation work is completely legitimate. We really do help domestic violence survivors, fund shelters, provide legal advocacy. You'll be doing real good. Then I accept. Welcome aboard, Counselor. Your first client is waiting. A woman whose husband works for the Moretti family. She came to us because she heard we actually help people. Joyce smiled. 7 years ago, she'd been that desperate woman's daughter. Now she could help others in the same situation. I'll be there tomorrow morning. 5 years later, Joyce sat in her office at the Castellano Family Foundation. On her wall hung her law degree, photos of women she'd helped escape abusive situations, and a framed quote from Aubrey's grandfather.
Power without principle is tyranny. The principle without power is impotence. Balance creates justice. Her phone buzzed. Aubrey Castellano was calling. Counselor Moreno, I need your legal expertise. What's the issue, Don Castellano? There's a 14-year-old boy who came to me yesterday. His father is beating his mother. The kid tracked me down, asked for help, offered me his bicycle as payment. Joyce felt her chest tighten with recognition. Where is he now? Safe, with his mother at one of our protected locations, but I wanted you involved. You understand this situation better than anyone. I'll handle it. Legal protection orders, emergency custody if needed, restraining orders that actually get enforced. And the father? Being encouraged to relocate, permanently. Same arrangement as Raymond Cordova. Aubrey paused. I thought you should know, Raymond violated his exile last month, came back to El Paso looking for trouble. What happened? Marco handled it, permanently this time. Raymond had 7 years to stay away. He chose to return. Choices have consequences. Joyce should have felt something, horror maybe, or moral outrage. Instead, she felt a grim satisfaction. Raymond had been given a chance most people in his position didn't get. He'd wasted it. The boy who came to you, what's his name? Marcus Chen. Smart kid, brave, reminds me of someone. I'll make sure he gets the same opportunities I got. Education fund, counseling, protection, the whole package. I knew you would. That's why I called you first. After hanging up, Joyce looked at her grandmother's ring, which she now wore on a chain around her neck. She'd made her peace with the contradiction years ago. She worked for a crime family's charitable foundation, helping people while being tangentially connected to an organization that operated outside the law. But she also helped women who had nowhere else to turn. She gave children like she'd been a chance at normal lives. She fixed what the legal system couldn't or wouldn't fix. Aubrey had been right all those years ago. The world wasn't black and white. Sometimes good people did questionable things. Sometimes criminals enforced justice better than courts. Sometimes the only way to fight devils was to negotiate with demons. She picked up her phone and called Marcus Chen's mother. Mrs. Chen, this is Joyce Moreno from the Castellano Family Foundation. I understand you're going through a difficult situation. I'm here to help. As she listened to the woman's story, familiar beats of violence, fear, failed police reports, courts that moved too slowly, Joyce felt the same determination she had at 12 years old. The system still failed people, but she was part of something that didn't. And sometimes, in a world without perfect justice, that had to be enough.
If you enjoy watching this, please like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.